The following podcast is taken from a live broadcast on Inspire FM.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, welcome back to the Rise to Success show. We have the Tiana family from Tiana Halal Pet Food, which is the first branded premium halal cat food in the world. The Tiana family are sharing with us today their journey of how they launched halal pet food for Muslim pet parents and are giving us awareness of why they recommend halal food for pets. Dear listeners, if you have any questions or comments, or if you have any questions for our guests, please feel free to send them an 0779 481822. So I'm sure a lot of people are tuning in and eager to learn more about Tiana Halal Pet Food. Am I pronouncing Tiana? Is it correctly? I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, great. So firstly, to start with, what was the idea behind starting that branded halal pet food?
I've been in a pet industry for around 10 years. I was working for one of the big retailers, sourcing the pet food for dogs and cats all across Europe. So familiar with the space. And again, pets are like your kids these days. I mean, you want to give them the best. I mean, no compromises. So being a very seeing the market, understand everything what's happening in the industry itself. And all of us, one day I was having a dinner with very close friend. We were having a table conversation with her mother because everyone knew that I'm in a pet food. They always ask me recommendation. What should I feed my dog? What should I feed my cat? And auntie said, when are we going to launch? I wish there would be someone having halal pet food. I mean, I'm sick of making it every day. It takes me time. And that was a eureka moment for me. Wow, there's something there. So then with my expertise, I started talking to industry, see what can be done. I mean, is it feasible? And then and I was fortunate enough to have good connections in the industry with pet expertise, people who know the category, people who know branding wise and production wise as well. And then we did, before we even launched the product, it's always good to say yes, there's a demand, but how do you validate what's in there? So we made a team together 4 years ago at Ramadan time. We did a kind of a teaser campaign with just YouTube videos, and Mufti Sahab got involved. And we just said, okay, let's ask the customers, what if the concept is there, would you be interested? And all of a sudden, within 2 weeks' time, it was a very low key marketing or whatever you can say, but we had around 3,000 people got straight away to us. Yes, great idea. Yeah, there are certain people, don't get me wrong, who always say this is crazy. I mean, what are you talking about? But majority of the people, we had a very good feedback. Then we thought that gives us a validation. Yes, there's a demand in the market. We want to support our brothers and sisters. I mean, there's a niche. Yes, it's not, again, there are different point of views which Mufti Sahib will explain. But we then started the project, and then started working with the factories to see, and manufacturing units of even ourselves, what should we do? And at that time, I mean, fortunately or unfortunately, COVID started. So all the things went into kind of back burner itself or whatever. And all the factories which we had some arrangements with, because it's a very strict quality procedure which we follow to ensure everything is regulated, everything is certified. So because all of a sudden there was a demand for other pet food as well. So we were lots of issues dealing with the new factories or new suppliers itself. But we got in there and we launched the freeze right range to start with. Again, being a small business, things take time. We are not Colgate Palmolive or Mars Group or whatever. We have lots of budget, so we have to make sure that we do the right things at the right time. And it takes time. Over a couple of years, we develop our customer base, and inshallah, we're getting there. I mean, we'll get there as well, and with a lot of support from our customers, with blessings and everyone from. So we are getting there. So this is what the idea where I launched the halal pet food, and especially, I mean, obviously it's for a cat right now because we have a cat. Majority of the Muslim pet parents have cats. Yes, there's a market for dogs, but that's not what we want to focus right now on. So we said, let's do the niche within the Europe itself. So we were the first one to launch the branded pet food in whole Europe. Yeah, even in the world. I mean, there's a company in Malaysia doing it, but that's very low, small level, and for dry range as well. So some people question, yeah, you're not the only one to do it. You get local regional brands, but that's what we said. We're a branded first premium cat food.
Mm. Amazing background. I love it, mashallah. And it's great, mashallah, that was, you said about 3,000 people were interested at the start, mashallah. That's
Yeah,
amazing. And I'm sure that's growing now as well,
it
mashallah.
is in Chile. So it was actually most of because the campaign was all over the world. So we had lots of people from international as well. So
Mm.
now at this moment, we're focusing within Europe and UK itself. So inshallah, it will grow. We have lots of Muslim pet parents all over the world. I mean, there's no specific data, but just in the UK itself, we got around 500,000 Muslim cat parents. So you can see
Yeah.
the market is there. We just need to make sure we have a right product for the right category.
Absolutely. And you started off with one product and now you've been expanding that, isn't it?
We started with the freeze dried range. Again, being from a pet industry, I always wanted to have something which is very niche professional. I mean, quality food itself. I mean, when what we have seen the trends in, I mean, whatever happened in the US, it comes to Europe eventually some point. So that technology is like a porridge. Again, people are very environmental conscious right now. You don't want to ship the moisture or carbon emissions or whatever, and you want to give them the raw meat content. So we started with a product which is like raw meat. It's a dehydrated form. So
Mm-hmm.
85% water, 85% meat content. You mix with the water and give them whatever they like. In that way, you're not shipping the moisture. You don't have to go for the waste. It's just a small box that can store anywhere. And that trend is going to grow over the category. Just in a pet food category will grow for freeze dried range. However, again, we know cats are very fussy eaters. So they are our kids. So once they, it's very difficult for them to, for example, you're serving any brand, I'm not going to say any brand names, which are 5% or 10% meat content. And
Mm.
all of a sudden, you're giving them a 85% meat. It's
Mm.
again, instead of going to McDonald's, you take your kids to Michelin star restaurant, they're not going to like it because they're so
Mm.
used to the junks and fillers and additives itself. So the transition to freeze dried was not relatively easy for our customers and for the cats itself. So it took us a year to get there because it takes a lot of time with trying the different ranges. And again, we launched goat variety as well. No one is offering the goat, so they're not used to the goat flavor. So getting them
Mm.
used to lamb and goat when they're only used to fish, for example, or chicken was bit not easy journey. But inshallah, we got some customers who cats have transitioned very, very well. And some customers, I mean, who cats don't like it. So we know we have to launch something which is still high premium meat content with good the natural grain free. So we launched the wet range and and the treats, and inshallah that range is doing very well as well.
Mm.
So we are adding the products as we go. I mean, as the customers call, we got lots of requests from the customer. Can you launch dry food? Can you launch for dogs? So inshallah we're getting there.
Amazing, mashallah. And from what you're saying, that actually makes a lot of sense of why the cats can be fussy, for example, with meat and goat instead of, for example, fish and chicken. So in that case, I'm assuming you would recommend having, if anybody, wants to now listening and they want to start changing their pet food, to start perhaps with the fish, chicken, and then move into the other products.
Yeah, what we normally recommend is for the freeze dried, we say to mix the food, do it, follow the transition guide for a week, 10 days.
Mm.
Whatever they're feeling right now, sprinkle the food, different flavors on existing food. So they get used to the taste and then average, gradually increasing the quantity over a few days or whatever. And within 10 days time, they transition straight away to Tiana freeze dried.
Mm.
On our wet pouches, we have a data. We have seen the cats love the product straight away
Mm.
because it's a good quality. I mean, it's 60% meat content. It's like a home cooked food. And for that range, we have they will transition straight away. We're very confident. But
Mm.
for freeze dried, yes, again, some people want the freeze dried range itself because it's more premium meat content and it's a natural, more of a raw kind of a food. So this is what we recommend. And again, start with the chicken, mix with the existing food what they have, gradually increase the quantity because they get used to the taste and smell and
Mm.
everything of the food, and then they gradually transition to Tiana.
That's interesting the way you're explaining it, because the vets will always say, if you changing the cat food, make sure you do it, slowly. And I couldn't understand why. So that's a great explanation of, for them to get used to the different tastes
Yeah.
and smell
Mm.
and so on. And I'm assuming as well, here it's probably best to kind of train the cats from a young age, instead of, like for those who have kittens, for instance, to start it from a young age so they get used to the taste.
It is. I mean, we've seen kittens are very, I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, kittens transition straight away because they're used to the, but for adult cats, we have sometimes seen there's a bit of a resistance from the cats to say, oh, I don't like the smell of it. I don't like the texture. But eventually they transition well. It's like a kids. I mean, if you're saying you have to eat this, they will probably retaliate first. So if you are
Mm,
being consistent with them and say you have to do this, there's a reason to then. So it's a work with the pet parent and the pet as well. So it's a combination of working together, because we've seen sometimes customer says, "Oh, my cat don't like it. I'm not going to give it to
mm,
them." She
mm,
refused it first time. So
mm.
unless we work with together with the customer and I mean a pet parent and say, "Okay, it's like your baby. Give
Yeah.
eventually. Don't give up. Try for a few days." That is why we have launched a new range called Welcome Pack, which includes a trial small sizes of all the flavors, all the ranges which we have. So the whole point is customers try them. If they like the dry freeze dried range, if they like the treats, if they like the wet pouches, so then you can mix and match and decide going forward what what my cat likes. And that's the whole
Mm,
point of, because we were focusing too much on freeze dried initially and say again cats are for eaters. So that's why we thought let's give the customer all the options of saying trial packs, small packs itself, so they don't have to invest, I mean, spend 50 pounds or whatever on getting a range and my cat don't like it. That's what customers
mm,
say. If I buy something for 70, 80 pounds altogether, my cat is not going to like it. What I'm going to do? So we said, okay, let's do the small packs itself. So the whole point is they try with a gift pack or a trial pack, and eventually, gradually, as they like, they can offer, they can buy the bigger packs.
that's great. And I love how you're explaining it, because there are a lot of things that pets say. I mean, the vets, not the pets, the vets say, and I'm like, I don't understand why. It's like when you're saying don't force them to eat it. And I've had that experience in the past where I actually forced my cat to have tablets. He wouldn't eat for 3 days.
Um,
So it's something, as I feel like it's harder than kids, because kids, at least sometimes you can explain to them, but pets you can't. So you've got to be really strategic with the way you're doing it. So I really like how you explained the reasons behind it. It makes a lot of sense. And you said earlier, I think you said that is 60% of the actual meat, and what about the rest is healthy stuff, right?
for the wet range of wet pouches is 60% meat content, and we got rest vegetables, and then all natural, all grain free, and yeah, I again, as I mentioned, I do not believe. I always believe in pets are your kids. We want to give them the best. If I have to
Mm,
compromise something, I will do it, but not for my pets or not for my kids. So we want to give them an option for people to give the best. It's a natural, grain-free, premium product, which we are very proud of, and we have seen the data. The cats like it. So rest cats need a balanced nutrition. I mean, some people say, yeah, boiled chicken is fine, or they don't need any vegetables or whatever, but our recipes are developed by the vets itself. We ensure everything is nutritionally intact. We got right additives, right taurine, for example. I mean, so there is a lot of research goes behind it, and that's the reason it's a premium meat content. If
mm,
you look at any other packaging or any other normal grocery SPGs, pet food, just look at the label behind what ingredients can go there. You'll see lots of fillers like corn or starch or whatever that is. So
mm,
that does not that I mean that's I mean yes, I mean I should know I'm not I can't say that it's good or not, but again it's customer's choice to say, do you really want to feed your cat, I mean your pets this
mm,
with this, when you can't even read the ingredients in there and there are thousands of hundreds of chemicals or whatever names you can't even pronounce. I won't be comfortable feeding my pet something which I don't understand. So
mm,
that was the whole philosophy of clean labeling. We know exact limited ingredients, nutritionally intact, and that's what we do.
mm. Absolutely, and it is very important, because when they have the lack of the right nutrition, that causes,
Health,
diseases,
health
it
issues,
causes
yeah.
illnesses and so on. And I notice quite a lot in probably cats more than dogs, that they tend to have arthritis. And probably that's because they're not getting the right nutritions in their body. So that's very, very important for pet owners to know about,
Yeah.
so that they know what kind of food to give to their pets. And that kind of leads to my next question, which is, how's Tiana different to other cat food? And he kind of answered, but do you want to add anything else to that?
Yeah, I mean, apart from other cat food, we are the halal. I mean, we are halal cat food. We are the only. I mean, there are other brands coming in the market now, and I'm glad because the category will grow. There will be more awareness. So, so I'm looking forward for other brands to join in because then
Mm,
the category will grow and people will have more options and choices. So, yes, I mean, it's wrong to say, or I don't know. We don't have a direct competition as yet, but again, if the halal category is new, we are there. But if compared to other normal pet food, forget about the halal element at the moment. We are premium, as I mentioned, natural, grain free, and we use human grade ingredients as well. Good quality food, good for you, good for your cat. So this is
mm,
what we believe in. So I mean, so that's what make a differentiate. And again, we are a small base, family owned business. So we're not like a big multinational corporates who just, yeah, I mean, so our philosophy, our working with our customers is totally different. We connect with our customers as a family. That's what we say. We are part of the Tiana family now. And as a families do, we'll work with them very closely. And our customer love our customer services. I mean, we are on the phone all the time. Any questions they have, we try to work them. My cat don't like it. Don't worry, sister. We'll send you another shipment, another packet to try. So that's what resonate with your customers, and that's what we want to do. We are all part of a family. You help each other, and inshallah, you'll get there. And this is what a philosophy which you won't get from any other bigger brands or anywhere else. I mean, that human connection, it's very key right now. So this is because this is what we are very proud of. We make sure that we connect with our customers and help all the way through any questions they have.
And that's very important. Customer service is very important in a business, and it is a big part of the business, because if the customer service isn't good, people won't stay, right?
Yeah.
And as you said, you describe it as the Tiana family. Not, you're not treating your customers as just customers, but more of the family, and that's very, very important as part of the customer service. So thank you for that. I'm just going to remind our dear listeners that we have the Tiana family today from Tiana Halal Pet Food, which is the first branded halal cat food in the world. The Tiana family will be sharing, or they are currently sharing, their journey of how they launched halal pet food for Muslim pet parents, and will be giving awareness of why they recommend halal pet food for cats or for pets. So that comes to the next question for Mufti Amjad, in terms of, why is halal food recommended for pets?
Yeah, so not only, I think, Pankaj just touched upon like sort of key elements of the quality of the food. And I think that sometimes we forget, even as Muslims, that not only are we supposed to be concerned about halal, but we're also supposed to be concerned about tayyib. And tayyib means making sure that the quality of food is of a certain quality, a high quality, both in terms of what the animal that has been slaughtered has been fed, how it's been raised, what conditions it's been raised under, and then obviously how it eventually ended up on a person's sort of plate. So that's an element, as I said, unfortunately, because of our sort of hyper consumption, what we're doing is, we kind of put that to one side. So I think that's a key point to make about the premium quality. So my background, obviously, as the name suggests, is I'm a scholar. So I'm kind of predominantly focusing on the halal aspect of it. But also I have a background in chemistry as well. So when it comes to the sort of the process and the manufacturing side of things, I can give some insights and some thoughts on that area. But just returning back to my sort of, key area, which is the halal side of things. One is obviously the certification process. I'm responsible for the certification process to make sure that there's no cross-contamination, also to ensure the source is from a halal source. And then obviously when it makes its way eventually into a pouch, which is delivered to a person's house, that they can rest assured that the certification process is tight. And obviously there's quality control throughout and due diligence steps taken in to make sure of that. It's also, I play a little bit of an educational role as well, because one of the areas where we got a few questions very early on in our journey was that, do I need to buy halal cat food for my pet? I thought only I had to eat halal cat food. Surely my animal can eat what it likes. The issue that people forget is that when we make a purchase, we're only also allowed to purchase halal. We can't purchase haram. So even if we decided to go into a store and buy, I don't know, a crate of alcohol, we can't buy a crate of alcohol, even if we're not going to drink it. Similarly, if we wanted to get ham sandwich, we couldn't buy that because the transaction itself is impermissible, irrespective of whether we're going to eat it or you're buying it for your next door neighbor or there's a party going on at your workplace. So when it comes to buying, say, cat food, then for the purchase element, there's also clarity, and this is a position many of the fuqaha have taken, is that purchase also has to be halal. So whether a cat finds food for itself, so if a cat decides to, I don't know, decide it wants some mice for lunch or whatever cats eat, then, that's different thing, because the cat has hunted that creature for itself and is consuming itself. It's more the transaction part where we go into a store and we're buying something, then we are only permitted to buy halal. And anything which is not slaughtered is considered as mayyit. And when it's considered as mayyit, then that's something that we can't transact in. Sorry, you're going to come in there, Gehad?
No, but it's actually a really interesting point, because I never thought about it. Because even when I used to hear about halal food, it's like, why does an animal need a halal food? But the way you're explaining, I never actually thought about it like that. For me, the way I was looking at it is like buying halal food is probably better as a better diet. But that's a really, really good point I never thought of. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. So as I said, it happens because, as a community, we've kind of used the word halal solely for consumption now, but halal in its broadest terms means legal. And haram in its broadest terms means illegal. And the Sharia is quite multifaceted. It covers all areas, worship, transactions, buyu, in all aspects. There's not one area of human activity that it doesn't cover. So therefore, once we start using these phrases, like you said, I don't think you'll be the first one, and you will definitely not be the last person that will say that. And I always looked at it from the consumption perspective. So we've done some work, probably not enough, but we've done some work in trying to raise awareness. And like Pankaj hinted at there, that the more producers or manufacturers of halal cat food that come into the market, then what they're doing is they're also building the educational element of it. Because what we find, unfortunately, is that, even though there are people like the Tiana group or others that are bringing halal products to the market, if the education is not there with it, then unfortunately that, people don't realize, they miss a trick, that actually that's a product that I need. So whether it's in, purchasing houses, or whether it's buying cat food, or whether it's a particular sauce or a drink in a store, then the education element has to now come in as well, because those assumptions that we make as manufacturers, or those assumptions we make as entrepreneurs, are somewhat misled, and they are assumptions. So now not only is there the product, but there's also got to be the education that comes with the product. So people become aware that actually, I need that product. I didn't know I need that product. I always thought it was a bit of a strange thing to make. I thought it was a little bit out there. But now that I've come with that awareness and with that understanding, I feel I need to buy that. So we have got some material that we did, and some small videos. But like I said, it's we're all busy people. So maybe there's not been as much time that we've given to the educational element. More so the focus has been on the certification element to ensure that the product is halal itself.
That's brilliant. Jazakallah khair for sharing this. Again, as I said, that has been new knowledge for me. So thank you for sharing this, and for inshallah for our audience as well to benefit from that as well. So Jazakallah khair. We are going to go for a short break shortly, but just to remind our dear listeners that we have the Tiana family on the show today from the Tiana Halal Pet Food, which is the first branded premium halal cat food in the world. The Tiana family they are sharing with us today that the journey of how they launched halal pet food for Muslims, and why it is recommended to give halal food for our pets. Dear listeners, if you have any questions or comments, you can feel free to send them at 0779 481822. Inshallah, we'll be going for a very short break, so please stay tuned for more, inshallah, interesting information on halal pet food. So see you shortly.
Assalamu alaikum, this is Atif Nawaz. Listen to Inspire FM shows in your time by heading over to inspirefm.org, or listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, welcome back to the Rise to Success show. We have the Tiana family from Tiana Halal Pet Food, which is the first branded premium halal cat food in the world. The Tiana family are sharing with us today their journey of how they launched halal pet food for Muslim pet parents, and are giving us awareness of why they recommend halal food for pets. Dear listeners, if you have any questions or comments, or if you have any questions for our guests, please feel free to send them at 0779 481822. So Jazakumullah khair again, Pankaj and Mufti Amjad, for all the input that you've gave today about halal pet food and why it's recommended for pets and for pet parents to start using for their cats. As well as the explanation behind halal food for the pets. So Jazakumullah khair, it has been very beneficial. Now I would like to talk a little bit more, coming back to Pankaj, regarding the name Tiana. When I came across it, I was like, why the name Tiana? Is there a reason behind it?
Tiana means princess. So
Ah,
analogy is your pet is like your princess itself. So
love
why
it.
don't you give the food? And my daughter name is Tiana as well. So she's my princess.
Wow.
Our cats are our princesses. So we just came with the name Tiana. So yeah,
Love
that's
it.
just the name Tiana. So
Love it. And I think it is quite important. They always say for branding is to actually share the story behind things.
yeah,
So I was really interested to know that. So thank you for sharing that.
yeah.
And yes, definitely our pets, I speak to a lot of people who have pets, and pets become like part of the family. It's like their own children.
Mhm.
So it becomes like our own princes and princesses. So thank you for that. Now, when it comes to Tiana, when did you actually start it, and what's your vision about it, inshallah, moving forward in a few years? You mentioned about making it internationally. So tell us a bit more about that.
Inshallah, we started 4 years ago. We went on a smaller start. What we expected, it took time because category develops itself. And so long-term plan, yes, we have a very ambitious plan. Sometimes people say it's too ambitious, but inshallah, we want to launch globally itself. We have lots of inquiries from Middle East,
Mm,
US, and Europe itself. We have started recently shipping directly to the customers all over the world. We
mm,
have our customers now in the US, Canada, South Africa, Australia. Again, it's on a very smaller scale, but people love the brand, the cats like the food. So people are spending two times, sometimes more than the product cost just to ship it to wherever I'm in Australia or in the US. So they love the products. Again, we see that we know there's a demand. So inshallah, we're going to
mm,
launch soon there. We are working with some retailers and with some wholesalers and distributors to see. The only concern, the one of being a small company, we don't have enough resources financially, whatever, to say launch in a bigger market itself. So
mm.
one thing at a time, we're trying to learn how to walk before we start running.
Yeah.
So, but we're still making sure any customers who want it, they can order it on online on our website. We have an international shipping options, and it's just the paperwork. Launching in a new market, for example, US itself, there's a 50. Every state has a different legislation. Every
Mm,
state you have to make sure you have to follow that legislation. Then you got FDA. So each market is so complicated, legal point of view itself. It's not easy to launch, and this takes time, resources, and now with the Brexit as well, even before Europe was fine, we're seeing issues now. We have to do so much of paperwork for veterinarian certificates and quality and everything to even if we ship it to Europe. So Brexit didn't help in that way because our plan was to get launch across the Europe itself. So we are working with, as I said, with some of the bigger retailers in pet space. So inshallah we'll get there. But yeah, that's a long-term plan. We want to launch stuff to start with within Europe itself, develop Europe, then move into North American market, and then eventually Middle East or Australia or far afield, South Africa.
mm. Inshallah, you will get there. Inshallah, as you said, it's learning to walk before running, and inshallah, it will hopefully happen sooner than expected. Inshallah, and as you said, there is certainly a demand about it, so or demand for it. So it's really good, and inshallah, you will get there soon.
Okay.
Now, do you have any success stories that you can share with us? I know you kind of mentioned that a lot of pet parents are enjoying the food for the not for themselves, for the pets. So any success stories for cat
I think
owners? Yeah.
what makes me proud, Gehad, it's just like, yes, I started on a journey. It's not been an easy journey. Every day is different. There are lots of challenges, but we come far through. With all the blessings and everyone's support, yes, things are not. I'm a very open person. We're not making any money. We will not eventually for a while because right
Mm,
now we so self. So for me, it's more of passion which I'm doing because
mm,
I know there's a category there. I want to help my brothers and sisters to work on to get them a premium product itself. So it's tough. I left my corporate job, very, very senior corporate job, because I believe in the product. And that's the reason I could not join. I could not join the same people say, why did you left your job and everything? Because I cannot do that. I'm working within a pet industry. It's conflict of interest. So it's not fair on my employer. So we have to take it separately. And that's what it was the biggest decision of my life, using all my resources, my savings, everything, and put everything into a project. But I'm so proud itself what I've launched so far, awareness, and people are believing in the products and cats loving it. We develop a new category. We are category disruptors. People never thought about halal pet food before. Yes, some companies came in. We've seen 2 or 3 companies came in the space. They went away because I want to make sure everything we do, start from certification, the quality, everything is right. I mean, we every box has to be ticked. We don't do any shortcuts. That's why things take time sometimes. And Mufti Sahib is always there to support me and everything. No, this is not right. We need to redefine the process and change. So this is what, because it's so intense. So that makes me feel proud. I know people said I don't take any shortcuts, because even you're tempted sometimes to say, you know what, just do it. But no, that's not the point. We need to be thorough in everything what we do, because we're giving something to our pets, to my brothers and sister pets, which is just like your kids. So you don't want to mess around with anything. And
Yeah.
that's the philosophy I work in.
Mm. Yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely.
success story wise, yes. I mean, we got huge customer base. I can't share the numbers of the customers right now, but again, I mean, things are category growing. And if you look at Google or reviews itself, you'll see. So we won lots of multiple awards, disruptive categories. We worked on Times as well. We've been featured in the pet industry. So we have created a new category, and inshallah that category grow, and we all will reap the success.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you made a really good point there, saying that you had to go through a lot of struggles for it, and in a lot of businesses, I mean, more businesses are that. I've had so many guests on my show, and they all talk about the struggles that they've gone through, and it's part of leading to the success, right? And I know we haven't sent that question to you, but perhaps if you can talk about how the struggles, how do you manage to overcome those struggles, some of the struggles that you've gone through that led to you where you are today. I know you're saying that you're still not even making any profit out of it, but you're determined to still continue offering that. So how are you overcoming those struggles, and why is it that determination of continuing in that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm blessed and fortunate enough to have very strong family and friends who are supporting me through the whole journey, including people in the pet industry who I do not work directly with them, but they're always there to support me as a mentors. So people, the who's who's of a pet industry. I mean, because I've worked in a pet industry for a long time, big corporates itself, people like, I can't say the names, but again, so everybody's got to support there with me and say, if I have any questions with them or anything they can support, I always pick up a phone. Can I get, what should I do? I mean, about this branding mark, and these are who's. So they do not, I don't have to go to a consulting route and say £1,000 for whatever just to make for, because I've got the whole network available. I mean, as a friend, as a mentor, so people are there, and that's what keeps me going. Yes, as I said, we're not even making money. Even we are losing money every month. I'm putting money from my own pocket every month, and it comes to a stage sometimes I get resistance from my family. What are you doing? But until they believe in me, so they said, we know you're doing something right. Things take time.
Mm.
Again, for example, I just make an analogy as a vacuum cleaners. When Hoover launched, no one knew about who. People were not, the category was new. So now anytime you talk about vacuuming, first name comes in Hoover. So this is what I want to be in. Shall a few years time when people talk about Tiana Halal Pet Food, yes, there will be different players, there will be 10 different brands, but I want people to say Tiana. I mean, whenever you say about Halal Pet Food, the name, first name should come in the whole word should be Tiana, and this is what my vision is. So I get people aware of it. So again, Gillette, anything with a shaving, it's a Gillette, which people say, oh, have you got a Gillette? So it's a brand, creating a brand which people resonate with, people associate with, and giving them a good quality product. This is what my vision is. Anytime anyone talk about in Tiana about halal pet food in 10, after 10, 20 years or whatever, Tiana should be there. The people should recommend, oh, it's a Tiana. So this is my vision.
Inshallah. Great vision, and with hard work and efforts, inshallah, it pays off, right?
Yeah.
So inshallah, you will get there, inshallah. Sometimes it takes long, but Allah sees the efforts, and Allah will reward you for those efforts, and inshallah will pay off both in
And
the
I
end.
mean, he tests you every day, and that's what we have to be strong to say. Whatever is going, he's doing something for me. There's a longer term vision for me. That's what I believe in. We go through these roadblocks, but then he gives me the strength itself, and then I just carry on.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. And that's a great point that you've shared, because that's one of the main reasons why I decided to have this show, is that we all see the successes on social media. When we hear something, when we see, successful individuals, we just see the success side of it, and we don't see the challenges that go behind it. That's one of the things that I wanted to highlight here, is that we do, those challenges, firstly for a reason, and secondly is that it helps us to be who we are today, leads to the success, because success is not just it's based on a lot of failures. And I want that to be highlighted to individuals, because when we hear that, we learn that there is a lot behind it than just what we're seeing as successes. And therefore, when we try to start something for ourselves, then we learn that it will be a journey. It will have struggles, and it's about learning how to overcome those struggles and remembering your vision and working towards it. And most importantly is knowing that, making dua, knowing that Allah inshallah will support you through it. So it's putting the effort, making prayer, doing prayers, and inshallah it pays off, inshallah. So that's a great point. Jazakallah khair for sharing that. If I come back to Mufti Amjad and ask, what's the involvement? What other involvement do you have part of this? I know you mentioned about the halal aspects of things. Are there any other involvements? I just don't want to, I feel bad kind of just leaving you not asking questions there. So, so is there any other involvement of yourself into Tiana family?
No, I'm more than happy to listen to Pankaj answering the questions. Alhamdulillah, it's not an issue. I think the thing is, because of my sort of multidisciplinary background, even though primarily my function is, as I said at the outset, but because obviously I've been involved in industry historically, I've been involved in science, chemistry in particular, and now obviously I'm part of an organization, a sort of whole business setup as well. So therefore, I am involved in that kind of sphere of life. So giving advice, but also kind of encouragement as well. Pankaj and I have had a few heart-to-heart conversations over the last year, especially. And obviously, sometimes, business is a lonely place. And, especially when you're trekking in a pool that nobody else is in. So it can be quite challenging. And you sometimes not only do the people around you not necessarily don't believe in you, but start questioning your mental state possibly, but also whether you're kind of kind of drifting away, and whether you need to take a little bit of a reality check. So having somebody in that same kind of sphere, or having somebody in that same kind of orbit is useful, and it's trying to tackle each challenge and put plans and strategies in place in order to sort of mitigate issues and navigate around problems. So I think it's more holistic, my role. As obviously when we first introduced, and as we've grown friendly over the years, the relationship changes as individuals. And I think that's what you can be really, is when you're in this area, just business generally, is kind of seeing something which others don't see, because like Pankaj mentioned with the two examples he gave, innovators by definition see something that nobody else sees, and they then realize that it's not just about seeing something, but then it's bringing into reality. And it's a very rare and unusual feeling, as well as achievement, when someone does that. For the great majority of us, the 90%, 95% of us, we're quite happy in a sort of steady 9 to 5 type of environment. But then we have the 5%, 3% of the world that need to do something else. So it's keeping that kind of balance between supporting a family, as well as at the same time of sort of following your dreams. So yeah, I we have those kind of conversations. So I have a more of a holistic supporting role, as well as the ustaji with the stick as well.
I love that. And you're right on that point of following our passions and dreams and so on. Since you, mashallah, you have the background and the knowledge, and I know I'm going slightly away from the Tiana here, but I think it's a good idea to kind of talk a little bit more about it. What's the Islamic perspective in following our dreams and passions, and being determined on that, and making sure that we keep going on the journey, like what I mentioned, combining that with dua as well, because I think that's quite important. It's very, very, very easy to give up when going through challenges. So what's your input on that?
No, I think it's a key, and I think it does tie into what Pankaj is trying to do, what we're trying to do here at Tiana and business in general, is that sometimes, unfortunately, we lose aspiration. We don't aspire to do greatness, and for whatever that reason is, whether it's our mentality, whether it's what society builds around us, whether it's the kind of background of education, social economic setting, whatever the parameters underpinning issues are, we don't aspire. And when you don't aspire, then that's where you don't dream. So the first thing has to be, you have to aspire to something, and that's, I guess, where role models come in. That's where looking at people, and I think you mentioned there, you see people on social media and you see people being very successful, but you don't see all the hard work that went in behind. So the aspiration has to come first, and once the aspiration comes in, then obviously one should try to meet those goals and meet those objectives. There have to be that element of realism in it as well, without any doubt. It's like, for example, when you're at school and you're doing your GCSEs, and people, your tutors or your teachers ask you, what do you want to do when you grow up, so to speak. How many of us are going to be astronauts? How many of us are going to be brain surgeons? How many of us? So there has to be realism as well. So there is aspire, but then also balance that with responsibilities as well, because obviously, as we all find our place in society, then we have responsibilities. We become husbands or wives or fathers or mothers, and eventually then grandparents, and therefore we have responsibilities. But that shouldn't stop us from trying to better ourselves, trying to push on and continuously educate ourselves. We shouldn't necessarily sort of stay where we are. I use a fine example with my students. Then a person who's done teaching for 20 years, there are two different types. There could be one person who has 1 year's teaching experience, which he repeated 20 times. And then there's another person who actually has 20 years experience. So sometimes we get confused as to what is real experience, what is real learning. And I think when you follow your passion, like Pankaj is following his passion, there's a lot of learning you do along the way as well, which, you don't get from a textbook, possibly you don't get from anywhere else. I'm sure if Pankaj sits down and writes his autobiography, when he does actually get around to writing his autobiography, there's going to be a lot of stuff which he never thought he would experience. So yeah, absolutely, the deen doesn't stop us from aspiring. The deen doesn't stop us from trying to better ourselves and achieve good. What it does, obviously, is put regulations upon us in what we can and can't do, but it doesn't limit us in what we're trying to achieve.
Love that. Jazakallah khair for sharing this, because I think that's very, very important, because as I said, it's very easy to give up sometimes. I've gone through it, and I know so many people have gone through it as well. So thank you for that. It's great input. Jazakallah khair. Just to remind our dear listeners that we have the Tiana family with us today from the Tiana Halal Pet Food, which is the first branded premium halal cat food in the world. The Tiana family are sharing with us today their journey into launching halal pet food for Muslim parents or Muslim pet parents, and will be giving awareness of why they recommend halal food for pets. Dear listeners, if you have any questions for our guests or any comments, please feel free to send them an 07779 481822. So coming back to Pankaj. So at the moment you're providing halal cat food, and I know you said that you're thinking of expanding, because mainly Muslim parents, they have more cats than dogs. I know some pet parents, they have dogs as well, as in Islamically it's used for like guarding and so on. So do you have any plans, or maybe just for other pets as well? What are the plans moving forward in terms of expanding?
At the moment, we want to focus just on the cat itself. Yes, we will increase the more accessories eventually, and at some point with cat grooming. We want to focus on a ecosystem for Muslim pet parents for anything related to cat. That's my longer term vision. If we want to adopt a kitchen, or if you're having a kitchen, Tiara should be the one-stop shop which people come to. I need something for my cat, and that's a target right now. Yes, we will launch new products within the category, but at the moment the focus is on cats. But who knows? I mean, inshallah, we'll get there, and maybe at some point we'll launch dog. But at the moment, we would just want to focus on the cats itself.
Absolutely. And majority anyway of businesses, they say it's better to have a niche anyway. So the focus is as you say,
we don't want to get into different category, different ranges. Do what we are good at, focus on that. That's what I firmly believe in. It's a focus is the key, and this is what we want to focus on.
Absolutely. And now if anybody wants to inquire for more information or where they can find you, I know that I've tagged you on Instagram for Tiana Halal Pet Food, right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Our social channel is Tiana Cat Club on Facebook, Instagram, but our website is www.tianahalalpetfood.com. And we have a good followers or good social. We don't do too much social media as we should do. I know people always say you should be more engaging, but again, being a small company, need lots of resources. But if you tag us, if you find us on Tiana Cat Club, you got all the information there. On our website, it's very comprehensive. And we are inshallah going to launch the new version of the website because we have some customers who said we need more information and just the look of it. So again, we're learning. Every day is a new learning curve. So we try to evolve every week, every month out of it. So we are going to inshallah launch soon the new website, new look of a website. And so everything will be there.
Inshallah, inshallah. And I love the videos that you have of the cats, especially on Eid, dressed up in, those Islamic clothes. I'm like, oh my God, they look so cute.
You know what the trend which we have seen within any pet industry, the three trends right now: humanization, customization, and premiumization. Cats are like a human; they are like the kids. We want to resonate them with as a kids itself. So on Eid, we want to dress up as. So it's a special occasion. So why don't we do something for our cats as well?
Yeah.
Same premiumization. I mean, we want to give them the best food. So that's Tiana and subscription as well. So we want hassle of not ordering all the time. So we offer subscription as well. So it's again, we're trying to mirror all the human elements into the pet side of shopping journey. So this is the target. This is the reason behind as well. So let's humanize our pets itself. They are our family. So let's do whatever we can do with them, like we do for our kids.
Love it. I personally don't know how people can actually get the cats to dress them the way they like, because I certainly cannot do that to mine. So it's interesting to see that. Well, thank you so much. We actually got a few minutes for the end of the show, and I know time sometimes goes very, very fast when talking about interesting things. Is there anything that you would like to add in terms of the Tiana Halal Pet Food, or if Mufti Amjad would want to add anything before we end the show? We've got that few minutes left.
I think I would say to our to our listener viewers itself, thank you for all your support, our existing customers. Yes, we are there. So please share the word. Talk about the overall category itself. Why halal pet food? We are not saying talk about Tiana because that's not right. Just awareness itself. That's what Mufti Sahab have already explained. So and then yes, we are there. We're not forcing any people to say okay, buy from us. Just look at the category. Look at what we are doing as Muslim pet parents, and try to give them a healthy food to our cats. And we are there. So in the whole journey with you, we want to work with you to make sure we're giving the right opportunities, the right kind of food to your cats itself, and always there to work with you guys. So thank you and Jazakallah khair for everything, all my existing customers and future customers as well. And thank you for all your support. Without you, we wouldn't be here. And I really thank you for all your duas as well. We got so many customers every day say we're keeping duas for you. And that makes you keep going. Even it's a long journey ahead, even if we have lots of road bumps itself. But looking at the messages and everything from the customers praying for us, giving us in duas, and that makes you keep going. And that's what you think that he's looking up there, he's believing in me, and thank you for that. And everything I feel proud of, and it makes me what I am.
Absolutely, and thank you to the Tiana as well, and the team is also messaging. They're saying great show, so thank you for all the stuff that you've been adding in as well. Jazakumullah khair. And I just want to also add for myself that when I looked at the ingredients, I actually didn't know that cats can have certain things that you have there, like some vegetables and all of that. I was actually like, wow. So the ingredients is all healthy stuff and healthy products, and I really encourage kind of getting the cats used to that from a young age, because when they go older, they do become very fussy, which is an experience that I'm having myself. So it's something that I really recommend. We've got about a minute left, so if Mufti Amjad would like to add anything, please feel free to do so as well.
I'm going to say cats aren't the only things that with old age get fussy. Humans also get a bit fussy as we get older as well. Joking aside, now it's the market. The halal market is growing. There is a lot more disposable wealth that the Muslims have. I think we need to understand the power that we possess financially in order to dictate the markets more. And when we do have, the products like the nature of Tiana, or anything else for that matter, it doesn't necessarily have to be this particular product. Any product that comes with has sound certification, sound Islamic principles and processes, then as a community, we should be supporting and encouraging them along, because as I said, it's a growing area. Is the sort of halal sector in all areas, whether it's food, financial products, clothing, leisure, whatever you want to call it. It's a growing market, so it's an opportunity there. And I think the key thing, just kind of last parting message, I can see you waving, is Allah bless you all.
Jazakumullah khair. We've got 10 seconds left, but thank you so much. I would have loved to hear more, but really appreciate that. It has been great. So thank you so much for being here with us today. Thank you to our dear listeners, and I'll see everybody, inshallah, in the next episode. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. Why not tune in to our live stream at inspirefm.org and follow and subscribe to our social media platforms at InspireFM Luton.